Next, they tell us to generate a spreadsheet with the following data. Different groups of, in this case, of employees and different numbers of employees, according to the average salary, to create a pie chart as an object of the same spreadsheet. That is, an embedded pie chart indicating the proportion of total salaries by groups. We have selected two data from which we should calculate what they are asking us for and then represent it graphically. We go to our Excel spreadsheet, where we have this table, and it tells total deductions. Salaries. That will be calculated as the number of employees that we have, equals the number of employees multiplied by the average salary corresponding to each one. This is a formula with relative references to the cells immediately to the left, meaning it is a formula that will serve in the lower cells since the default addressing is relative, meaning it will always be the product of the two cells that are immediately to the left. And this is what we are going to want to represent. This is the value that we want to represent in a pie chart. Pie charts can have or be as simple as inserting a pie chart. And that would be it. Here what happens is that we have not exactly identified what each segment corresponds to. The first is the blue one, which is Group A. Logically, we would want to select a chart that gave us a little more information. So very probably what we would have to do in this case is not only select the numerical data that are going to be represented, but also the headers that correspond to Group A, B, C, and D. Of course, in this case it is not very easy since if I select this range, I would also select this one and I should select the equivalent which is in this column. They are two columns that are separate. They have other columns in the middle. I do not want to represent them all because if I represented all these data now, the pie chart I would get is a false chart, since what it would represent would surely be the data that we wanted. That is, we see here that it has only represented by the value 1. That is, the first column, the number of employees. That is, the chart has been represented, but it is a chart that does not represent the data column that we want to represent, which is salaries, but rather it has represented the number of employees. So it is no good. We have to choose this range and this other range. We could do this in two ways since here, when we have selected the range, we could tell it to get rid of the extra columns. For example, remove employees. This means it is now representing the average salary, which is the following column, the first column of the data columns that are included within data represented in the chart. And if we remove average salary, logically it is no longer representing the salaries that we wanted by the different groups. If we wanted to do this directly from the outset, what we have had to do is select the two ranges that are separated. We do this by selecting the first and then, while holding down the Control key, we select the second. We see that here we have this coherent double selection that would fit. The size is the same, so it fits, so we can insert the pie chart that they asked us for, and we again get the graphical representation of the total salaries distributed between each of the groups.